it's Nikki. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for popping by. Today I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can tell the difference between a craving and actual physical hunger. So if you struggle with cravings and you don't know how to beat them, this is the video for you. After we talk about these 5 points, I'm going to give you some techniques that you can use to try and combat cravings so that you don't give in to them all the time. It's okay to give in to your cravings here and there, but if you're struggling with always giving in to those cravings, we're going to talk about some strategies as well. So stick around to the end of the video to see what those suggestions are. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Just need some water first. Okay, so number 1. This is probably the most important difference. This is the biggest tip. If you're going to take anything away from this video today, this is the one that you want to pay attention to. The difference between actual hunger and a craving has to do with how quickly those come on. So, cravings develop suddenly, instantly. All of a sudden, you're, out for a walk and you're like, oh, I really need some chocolate. That's a craving. Or you're watching TV and you're like, yeah, I need chips right now. Boom, just like that. That's a craving. Physical hunger, on the other hand, builds gradually. It takes a little while to get to its peak. So you might be watching TV. If you can be physically hungry when you're watching TV, but it'll be a different sensation. So you'll just kind of start to get the little bit of hunger cues that we talked about in my last video, where maybe you start to think about food, or you can't concentrate as much, and those physical sensations of hunger from your stomach are slowly building. That is physical hunger, not a craving. So if you feel that, okay, it's time to eat. But if you're just sitting at work at your desk and boom, all of a sudden you're thinking about candy, okay, that's a craving. So number 2 is the way we feel this craving or this hunger is a lot different depending on if it's a craving or if it's actual physical hunger. So a craving we often feel in our head or in our heart. So what I mean by that is maybe you're angry at someone, they really pissed you off today, and you want something crunchy to eat. You need to get the anger out. So you want cheesies to crunch on, or you want chips, or you want nuts, or something that you can just take that physical anger out on. Or maybe you're sad. Maybe you had a bad day and you just really want some comfort, so you're craving more of chocolate or sweet foods. So those are kind of felt more with our emotions, and that is how we can tell it's a craving. Whereas physical hunger is just felt in our body, in our stomach. We're feeling that physical sensation of hunger. So there we go again, nice easy way to tell the difference. Where are you feeling that sensation? Is it in your heart? Is it in your head? Or is it in your stomach physically? So number 3, this one has to do with timing. So a craving can happen at any time of the day. Doesn't matter if you just ate breakfast 5 minutes ago or you just ate supper half an hour ago. If you get a craving, it hits you. So you could actually be physically hungry, or you might be stuffed and full and you're still having a craving for something. Maybe you're looking for something sweet after your meal. Maybe you're looking for something salty later at night. Those type of things can be felt anytime during the day. Actual hunger is felt usually hours after you have a meal. So you have breakfast, a couple hours later, it's time for a snack, or a couple hours later, it's time for lunch. That is usually when you see that physical hunger. It doesn't happen sporadically throughout the day. That being said, it could if you were very active. So if you ate breakfast and then you went for a long run, you might feel physically hungry sooner. But for the most case, day-to-day, not so active lifestyle, it's going to be every 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours after your meal that you're getting that physical sensation of hunger again. So number 4, this one is kind of interesting. So this one you might not recognize until after you've eaten the food, whether it was a craving or physical hunger. But a craving, if you eat the food, so you let's say you're craving ice cream, and you eat the ice cream, it doesn't always go away. You might still have that feeling for having something to eat, or it might have switched to a different craving while you're eating that. So you went for something sweet, but now all of a sudden you want something salty. That's more of a craving. Whereas with physical hunger, when you eat, it is satisfied. So you were having hunger sensation, so you ate, and now that feeling is going away and you feel better and you're moving on from that experience. So this one's a little bit tricky in the sense that you might not know if it's a craving or hunger until you eat it, and then you're going, oh, I'm still craving something else. This is just a craving. Or if that sensation goes away and you're satisfied, okay, that was physical hunger. So number 5 builds on top of number 4. When we eat foods that are just a craving, those foods are usually foods that we forbid ourselves to have very often. Maybe they're higher in sugar, maybe they're higher in salt, maybe just a higher calorie food. I've used examples like chips and ice cream and things like that. And I'm not saying again that these are bad foods, these are just foods that we often crave. But when we do indulge and give into that craving and eat those foods, we often feel guilt or shame after eating them. And that's how you can tell that it's a craving, because we have those feelings of remorse because we maybe didn't want to eat those foods. We don't feel proud that we ate those foods. Whatever it is, I'm not saying it's right, but this is just something that we often feel when we give into a craving. Whereas physical hunger, we feel satisfied after. We feel full, we feel satisfied, we're good to go, we move on, life is good. Those are the 5 differences between physical hunger and cravings. I hope those help you figure out what's going on in your life. If you're struggling with eating, maybe those will help you determine, are you eating because you're craving food, or are you eating because of physical hunger? Now, what are some tips? What are things I can do to help combat these cravings? I have them lots. I've identified that throughout my day, multiple times a day, I'm having these cravings. What can I do? Please, Nikki, just tell me, what can I do? There's a couple things you can do. So one of them is ride it out. If it's a craving, you've identified it's a craving, ride it out like a wave, like you're a surfer. Because what happens with cravings is, like I talked about, they hit you fast, they come on quickly, just like a wave, it peaks really quickly, and then they start to just diminish over time. Now, at first, it might feel like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it might feel kind of long, but the more you do it, you'll find that it's only a couple minutes that craving is strong, and then it's just slowly going away, and then it will go away. And we know it will go away because it's not physical hunger, it's just temporary. It's not your body needing fuel, it's just some sort of emotional or heart hunger, something that's triggered us to want to eat food. Something else that you can do is try to dive deep down inside. This is where maybe journaling your feelings or your thoughts can help you with this one. But if you often have emotional triggers for eating, so things like stress, anxiety, boredom, sadness, things like that, then you're always going to be eating. You're going to go through your whole day being triggered multiple times a day into eating. This one takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot of diving deep in and trying to figure out what is causing these. But you really need to just learn to feel those feelings, identify what those feelings are, and then figure out what your body is asking for instead. Are you bored? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to call a friend? Do you need to read a book? Things like that. Because when you're eating, if you're bored, you're not going to be bored while you're eating, but what happens the minute you stop? We're bored again. So, trying to figure out what it is. Sadness, what's making you feel sad? Do you need to seek counseling, some professional help to help you with those feelings? Or do you just need to watch a silly show to cheer you up? Maybe listen to your favorite music? Once again, get outside for a walk. Physical activity naturally boosts those feel-good hormones, the dopamine, serotonin that make us feel good to help raise our spirits. You eat when you're anxious. You know, times can be stressful. You're feeling lots of anxiety. Eating might be a way of comforting yourself as well. Things you can do instead could be have a bath, anything that's self-care that can help tone you down a little bit, bring those feelings down, journaling, again, calling a friend, seeking professional help if you need someone to help you manage your anxiety levels. All of these things can be very beneficial for helping combating emotional eating. You can also work one-on-one with a dietitian who is trained in emotional eating. That will really help move you away from always coping with our emotions with food. Again, I'm not saying that if you eat for comfort, you eat when you're sad, you eat when you're happy is a bad thing. It's only when it feels like to you, you're doing it more than you feel comfortable with. Because we're humans, we all eat for celebration, we all eat maybe when we're lonely or sad, but it's the frequency which you're doing it and your comfort level with it. And a third thing that you could do to help manage your cravings is distraction. So hello, toddler, we're all toddlers deep down inside. Toddlers are super easily distracted, and so can we be as humans. So you have a craving, it's time to distract yourself, move your thoughts somewhere else, whether that be, again, read a book. I wouldn't say watch TV though, because have you noticed the TV commercials, especially if it's around supper time or after supper? Evening TV is food commercials, food commercials, food commercials. So that's not going to help with cravings. But reading a book, going for a walk, doing a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku or something like that to get your mind away from those cravings. One last thing I want to say though is sometimes you just got to give in to those cravings. Sometimes you got to honor it and just go for it and just give yourself 100% permission to have that food so that you don't feel that guilt and shame and you can move on from that experience. Sometimes I crave sugary foods, whether it be chocolate, candy, things like that. It's usually mid-afternoon. It's probably due to the fact that my energy levels are stooping out for the day and I'm just looking for a pick-me-up. And you know what? If I just go and have some of that food, whether it be a piece of chocolate or homemade cookie or something we have kicking around, I'm usually good and I just move on from that experience. But if I were to, tell myself, no, I can't have it, no, I can't have it, no, I can't have it, then maybe by the end of the day in the evening when I'm really tired and I don't feel like combating cravings, I might overdo it and go a little bit too much on the cookies, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's good to just go for it, have whatever you're craving, and try to move on from that experience. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed those tips and they're gonna help you in your everyday life. If you like what you saw, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the like button, and leave a comment below if you have anything